Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for August 6th through 9th, 2021. How are you doing? Well, we're feeling the energy build as we move into this new moon in Leo. Really powerful energies right at the middle of Leo, the sun and the moon coming together in exact square with Uranus in Taurus. This new moon happens on Lionsgate portal 8/8, August 8th. And so that what we're talking about here is aligning up with this like full spotlight of Leo energies shining down, fusing into our world, going beyond the clouds, the smoke, the mist, the atmosphere, and giving us an opportunity to come absolutely in alignment with the truth that we are as God consciousness and begin to express this. This is really the main issue for SuperNova Souls in general. Everything wrong is really about the potential inside of you that's not being used. And we know this, right? We know this feeling. It's really hard when it feels like nobody around you can validate it. You get the message like, why bother? What are you doing? Oh, you think you're better than us? What's going, And really there's this incredible spiritual wealth within you. Now, it brings to the picture this time of year, this cross quarter day, which is the midpoint between the summer solstice and the fall equinox, or vice versa in the southern hemisphere, but between the solstice and the equinox, this midpoint, it's called Lammas, and it's about the feast of first fruits. And when we look at this energy around the supernova soul and what's going on, there's this energy of this wealth, this gift you have, or multiple gifts, multiple talents and skills that you develop over many lifetimes, but that are laying fallow, right? Like not being used. And that's like this fruit of the tree that's not being received. And then it becomes toxic and poison. And when the crux of this energy with the sun and the moon for this new moon in exact square to Uranus and Taurus, Uranus and Taurus is speaking to a revolution, a disruption, a different energy around a wealth, physical form, and self-worth. And so this is exactly the rotting energy of like this, have you ever had this experience where you've given a gift and then the gift wasn't received? The person didn't feel like they were worthy, then they ignored it. Then it was like just this kind of energy out there that's never got resolved, right? And this is kind of what's going on here, although the gifts we've been given are actually what we've earned over many lifetimes and evolutions. But it is time for us to pick up these gifts. And this is exactly the energy of this Lionsgate portal, new moon in Leo, and a flood of light coming into the planet and activating that God code DNA, activating these gifts and skills, and calling supernova souls out of the shadows. Because Uranus has this energy of a higher vibrational frequency, which is disruptive. It's only disruptive to patterns that are no longer serving, though, that don't fit the new energies. Right? And so it's like this light coming in is disrupting the lower matrix. It's breaking through the code. It's cracking the egg, the firmament, the boundary of the quarantine that humanity has been in, shedding the veil and shining light, a flash of light, that flash of clarity. We don't want to miss this energy. For supernova souls, it's cracking the code of who you are, cracking through these hidden mysteries, these gifts and skills that are latent within you. And so really powerful, because the square sun is who do we think we are? And then in square to Uranus, it's about what if you are abundant God light and you just don't think you deserve it? And this is everything that's wrong. And how do you access it? How do you express it? How do you live and breathe in that place? Now, this is really interesting because when you look at the energy of Mars coming into square with the nodes of the moon, and Mars is our action planet. In Virgo, it's like, let's get organized, let's get going, let's do this. And yet coming up against the past and the future, what hasn't been resolved from the past, South Node Sagittarius and North Node Gemini. And again, mutable square energy. Now, it's like the whole time the nodes have been in Gemini and Sagittarius, there's been this feeling of a lack of direction. And that's because mutable signs are about shifting, right? So when you're shifting in big changes internally and externally, it's not a time to shoot forward with big plans and actions. But this Mars square the nodes is bringing up a whole year and a half of frustration of not being able to focus, to know where to go, to make decisions, and so, but what it is it's bringing us face to face with those stories from the past, South Node and Sagittarius, that are keeping us from moving forward. Now, that has everything to do with why your fruit is laden on the vine and beginning to rot. And it has to do with authority contracts and fear programming, everything, elaborate system, all designed to just keep us from knowing that we are the light of God. Our whole system, our whole science, our history, it's all designed to make us and keep us feeling small. So you, Supernova Soul, who have already experienced your bigness and other evolutions and experiences, you're here to lead the way in claiming back this spiritual autonomy, this strength, this light within, and everything is pointing to it. But that Mars square the nodes, that's coming on just as we move into this new moon on Saturday energy, and then it will last through into next week. And it's like Mars transits bring frustration, like, why can't we just go? And with this whole period of time of lying fallow, of waiting for something, of confusion, of total manipulation on all levels of information out there, it's exhausting. And so there's definitely this energy of like, am I ever going to get anywhere? But the place you want to get is actually where you're just unlocking these gifts and skills, where you're cracking that code. And for Supernova Souls, it's about the heart. And this is Leo. Leo energy is about using the power of love to overcome all. And using the power of love and compassion and open heart to heal all wounds and harmonize all situations. That Leo light is, though, exactly what we talked about. It's all held under these authority contracts and fear programming, and you got to stay in the shadows. You got to stay hidden. It's not safe for you. Don't you dare go find your people. We better find each other. It must be time to bring the tribe back together. And so this is an interesting energy because it's saying the frustration of not being able to move and not being able to find direction, not being able to know where we're going, it's all connected into the next action step we really need to take, which is this light within, which is unleashing. What I'm seeing right now is an overcoming more easily through determination and presence, but in Supernova Souls, an overcoming of the negative thinking, of the mind programming, of those ancestral limitation energies. We have to remember that the Sun Moon square Uranus is really speaking to the Saturn square Uranus energy of this whole year of astrology, which is about what is limiting what are you allowing to limit your abundance? And that has to do with our worthiness for it and the fear programming and the authority contracts and all of that. But this level of light, this is like, it's almost like we've been in a period of time where we're like reaching up, trying to come back into that feeling of connection, of synchronicities, messages, like, you're on the right path, right? And it's been just fog, And now that light of truth, destiny, And the reflection of the light within, what our sun represents, is just flooding in. And then it's that whole thing of where we are in the shift of ages, what this Saturn square Uranus is all about too. It's like, do you deserve it though? The light is, you've been climbing up every day out of the darkness. Now the light's going to flood in. Can you groove with that? You know? Or are you going to run away and hide again under the rock? You know? Now Venus is in, again, all our personal planets are really involved in this story. And right after this new moon, Mercury will be coming to the end of Leo, and opposing Jupiter at the end of Aquarius retrograde. And so that's a really powerful energy. Mercury, our mind, opposing Jupiter, Jupiter in Aquarius, and the end degrees of Leo, end degrees of Aquarius, really sorting through this Aquarius Leo axis. So it's interesting because we've got all this mutable stuff around destiny and change and confusion, but very clear messages with the Leo Aquarius that to get into the Aquarian age, we need to come into a full expression of the light that we are in our individual expression. And that's what makes a whole society. So that's really powerful. It's like that Jupiter at the very end degrees of Aquarius retrograde, and it's speaking to that cusp. This is the Pisces Aquarius cusp, just dangling there. You know, how long are we going to stay in this in-between place? And yet it's saying, like, the one thing that moves us forward, that helps us orient, that gives us clarity, that you know, is just accessing and expressing our light within, which is actually love, which means it's just really about the heart. You know, SuperNova Souls is sensitive souls. You've been rather naive in past lives. You've trusted the wrong people, not recognizing how evil it can be. And so in order to protect yourself as a sensitive, powerful, light being soul, you had to go underground. You had to go deep within yourself. You know, you had to hide those gifts and skills and close your heart. But our heart is like the main organ of the chakra system that makes it all work for our light body. And if your heart is closed with this wall, this safe, this, you know, big iron gate, we can never get to where we're going. And so a lot of this combination of astrology is just so powerful in saying, hey, this is what we need to do. The new moon in Leo, it's a new start for expressing our God consciousness and a resolute determination in knowing that love is all, and you've got an abundance of it, and now you're not going to hide from it anymore. And a big part of the shift of coming into who you are as a supernova soul, landing home your bigger self, this is what's happening right now, soul retrieval coming in. Like, you have been existing as a fraction of who you are, and now that wholeness is coming in. You don't even know who you are, and it's been hidden, and it's in the muck and the goo, and we got to excavate. But it's really about, if you're here to be the abundance, to demonstrate the abundance of love that this world is truly all made of, and all goes back to, then you have to receive that level of cosmic love first. Live and breathe it, you know, fully experience it. Supernova souls want to help other people. They just feel like they're here to be of assistance, you know, and yet won't allow assistance for themselves. So maybe this landing home of your bigger self is opening up to a whole new level of guidance that you didn't even know. It's like completely different than the guidance you're used to. Maybe that's why we've been going through this period of time of like feeling blocked off from all guidance, and just like we just were put under a shell, and we can't even reach up and feel those energies. But maybe that's because we're learning to connect with only our higher self, and literally a part of this future self is incarnating here. And so it's a whole different relationship to guidance. It's not really guidance, external guidance. It's like a magnetic piece in your heart that you are now arrived, and you're here fully present in your God consciousness to live out this divine plan. So the way this astrology is all coming together, it's just really powerful messages. And it feels like a major shift with this new moon in Leo. So we'll just kind of see what happens. But, we talked about Mars square the nodes, and Venus is opposite of Neptune. So like I said, all of our personal planets are involved here. It's like a council of all of the little voices in our head, right? And trying to get resolved. Now, one of the things with the Venus opposite Neptune in Pisces, we're speaking to spiritual service, exalted feminine, and this coming back into spiritual union. But the feminine can never do that if she's down in the gutter, right? And this is kind of saying, like, in order, so everything, the way the astrology is pointing to, of course, this main thing: how do we get over the hump? How do we turn the corner? How do we get into this new age? And this is like, the goddess has got to come back into her rightful throne and be purified, where we consult that energy before we do anything. Is this full of care and compassion and health and balance and harmony? Are we moving in that direction? Let's tap in, right? So you got like the king, the exalted king in the sky with the Leo energy, and then Venus opposite Neptune. Speaking of this higher level of spiritual service for the feminine, and that we can't get to a higher octave of existence without that feminine having a voice. And with Black Moon Lilith, now at the early degrees of Gemini, that's exactly what this is. And it's almost this simple concept of like, if something is hidden, then it can become distorted and dark. The feminine teachings, the ancient teachings of feminine mysteries, of electricity and the body activation, they're just pure, they're just true. But then once something gets hidden, then there's automatically like a shame that goes along with it. And so much of the astrology over the last couple of years is about removing that shame. And indeed, here we are, because we've got a revolution of wealth. And that's exactly how SuperNova Souls got programmed into thinking they're really small and worthless and nothing and nobody. I mean, it's so crazy what most SuperNova Souls have accepted as love, family, connection, and it's so empty. Because there's this pattern over lifetimes, specifically designed to make sure that you don't ever know who you are, that you completely forget. And then the shame. This is so huge, because it's like we can't come out of the secrets, like all the lies that are about to be revealed in our world. You can't have secrets without shame. And so we've got to have, there's a huge clearing of shame energy. And almost going in that place of like, oh, shame has to do with an energy of like, I did something wrong. I did something bad. I'm not good, and humanity has been programmed to think that they are small, insignificant little creatures in body bags that just live and die. And it's just so far from the truth. But in order to get to the truth, there's like dark shame energy. And of course, we know there's just dark secrets that need to be revealed in order for us to purify, cleanse, and move forward. And that's the huge energy right now, with Mars and Venus both in Virgo, and Mars square the nodes. So it's a rebirth for humanity of the light within. And so Be open to this shift of, instead of reaching up and climbing up out of the darkness every single day, the light just flooding into your world. And when that light floods in, it brings healing, it brings compassion, it supports you in opening your heart, it supports you in this crazy mind control zombie apocalypse to come with love in every situation. Love might mean truth, you know? So much is like, it's really hard to exist in this paradigm of awareness and then have people just constantly challenging. You don't even have to say anything, and they're coming over to challenge your paradigm just because they see that light within you. And no wonder you've been hiding it, right? But this is our next phase. This is our next step. And are you ready for that hand of God to reach down and grab you? You don't have to reach up anymore. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to climb up the mud slope. It's like, take your exalted place back. And that involves the feminine having a voice, right? That's your intuition having a voice. This higher self part of you incarnating, where you feel, maybe that's part of this time of no navigation, because we're coming into true navigation in that heart-centered place. And that light reaching down and pulling you up and supporting you in your journey. But there's that place before that, which we've been in, that wilderness, the lost, completely alone, but it's almost like that's a place you have to go to open up to the abundance that you are, and then start working. I'm just seeing all of these clues that there's whole systems and awareness of this whole new level of existence. They're being set up behind the scenes. Maybe this is what we're so busy doing in other realms on the astral plane. It feels like it's a very busy time psychically, and yet we get to not know. We don't get to know what's going on in this everyday reality, right? Maybe if you knew, then the dark side would know. It's like, you got to stay, we're still in this like hiding secret, and that's all about to just get blown out of the water. But every day more and more, knowing why you're here and feeling that path that's laid out for you, that you already know. Your higher self already did all this work. You know what you want. You know what you came here for. You got your group of people and your systems and your an avenue to work is all being set up. And can you have that faith and trust in knowing that there is that moment of complete darkness before the light returns? And we are all going through it individually so that we can be in that place of receiving. I see this, say, like when we're talking about opening the heart, SuperNova Souls really have in their birth chart, you'll see again and again a very clear desire and path of working in soulmate relationship. And one thing that seems to happen with soulmate relationships, and this is your intimate soulmate, but also your soul group members, is that you'll go through a period of time of deep and profound yearning and emptiness before you meet this person. And you both will feel this way. And it's like this vacuum, right? And know that nothing can stop ultimately you guys from coming together. That's what you came here to do, but we're sorting all of this out. And maybe this is exactly where we're at. It's like the light is being so held back and so restricted, but we know we're on the verge of this massive new reality, right? And so it's like that hunger, that anticipation, that making space. Because if you have that experience of this deep and profound longing, and then your soul group members or your intimate soul group, and they show up, you are going to appreciate every moment of that connection. It's a completely different paradigm of relationships, where you felt kind of like an energy of nothing forthcoming for you. No, nobody in the karmic relationships, they don't know necessarily. They're operating out of unconscious things, programming, but there's definitely an agenda for SuperNova Souls of these karmic relationships that have been holding you back from who you are deliberately, with no recognition, no acknowledgement, no validation. It's like you're alone in a vacuum because your spiritual self has not been acknowledged. Do you see how if nobody around you for lifetimes acknowledges your spiritual gifts, they go away? And so what is it like to be around people who are forthcoming with their love, with their recognition of who you are as a soul? And not that you're better or worse than anybody else, but like you have a multifaceted, dynamic set of skills. That's how you made it here. It's how you can stay here and listen to this stuff. And it comes right back to this whole, like, what is the limitation keeping you from your own abundance? And that's worthiness, right? I mean, it's like there's the worthiness issue for your abundance, but then it's like, first you got to realize you even have it. And this is the process again and again. I get notes and emails and messages saying, I don't know if I'm a supernova soul. So the symptoms of being a supernova soul is this feeling of like, what am I doing here? I know there's so much more inside of me. There's something I need to do. There's something bigger. So then we have to explore, and maybe we cannot explore and receive our own gifts until we can open back our heart and be in that vulnerable place and be open. And trust again. It's been like this feeling of everything working against the light for so long. And then how are you supposed to come in? That's who you are. That's what you came here to do. And then are we at this place where now that hiding from the light, disconnected, I don't even know if I'm a supernova soul. And then all of a sudden that hand of God reaches down and it's your hand and it's your heart. And it's like just this deep and profound peace and harmony that comes when the supernova soul surrenders to the will of the divine, which is, you've been working in that plan from the very beginning, And then the South Node Sagittarius energies that are getting stirred up now are about, oh, well, where did you had a role and you had a story and you had to fulfill something and you didn't do it in your past lives. Well, yeah, because everything was working against the light. And then it's this feeling of the low self-worth, the hiding, the shame. And on top of that, you got failure energies and you're no good and you can never get out from under that. And so this is where the Sagittarius South Node is where we got into playing God. Like we had to go fix it and may have interfered and got too identified with those stories. How we got identified with those stories often has to do with being killed or tortured or exiled or persecuted for being the light that you are. And then you may have the picture is kind of like we're supposed to rest in between lifetimes and reconnect to source and, come into this place of peace and resolution. But if your timeline was interrupted by being targeted, soul, then a lot of times it seems like those souls came right back to earth. Like I got to get right back there and get into my mission and get back on and get back. And then it's all wacky and nothing is supporting because your timeline got all weird. And then you have this attachment, a personality attachment to some story that you need to fulfill. Now, when you have that for lifetimes, then all of a sudden what's going on right now is those stories are being ripped away. The crack of the code, the false histories, the false signs, everything's just falling away. And then there's a feeling of like, oh, who am I? What am I doing? If I don't have this like big story, then I'm not anything. And it's like, yeah, you're not, because you're everything. And you're here to be your will. And what you want as an individual soul is absolutely in exact alignment with the divine will and the divine plan. And so now you can step into living in this God consciousness, bringing compassion to everything, turning your light on, letting your light shine and bring love to every situation. And don't let anybody bring you down off that cloud, But it's such a shift from the where we've been and this huge bloom of the Piscean energies of persecution. But it's just not holding. You can feel it. It's just an old story. It's like, really? Every day, the news, mainstream news, propaganda paradigm, mockingbird media, it just gets more and more ridiculous. And it's like, you can see how they're just trying to get the hook in to get the fear programming so that they can maintain and control. And it's not working. It's not holding. Too many people awake. We already passed that threshold, that paradigm. But apparently some dark shit still needs to play out in order for us to completely move into heaven, as many souls as possible move into this transition, into enlightenment and the expression of this God self within. But you're here to lead the way, and it's time. This Leo new moon is like on the Lionsgate portal. All right, time to shine. Let your light shine. Turn it on. Show up in that place. Don't let anything argue with it, this divine. Now it comes back to this gift, and this beautiful gift. And then the person who was given this gift doesn't think they deserve the gift. And then they're going to hide it away or maybe give it to somebody else. Or what if it just sits there and it's this beautiful gift, right? But it's wasted now. And are you going to receive and honor and hold sacred your beautiful gift, which is your ability to align in the heart and the truth and the light and the way? And we have to let that ego dissolving process happen. Let go of the old stories, let go of everything that we thought we were, and just come back moment to this place in our heart and crack the code, So this Leo new moon is an opportunity to get clarity. Our first time, it's almost like the light of this Leo new moon flooding the planet. It's almost like we can refract up and see the bigger picture. And that's so interesting with Mercury there at the end of Leo opposite Jupiter, just after, for the couple of days after this new moon. And so it's like, the problem with Aquarius is that it is so visionary. It's like, oh yeah, I can see way and how it could be. And I got a picture of this. And then it's like, okay, but how do we get there practically? What are the steps we need to take? And then the vision gets lost, and this is how we feel right now. It's like we're in the maze and we've exhausted all options and there's only one left. And you're looking for that door. And you're looking for that door. And then, there's that beautiful Rumi quote says, I was looking for the door and it opened from the inside. But I'm about ready to get out of this matrix trap. What are you? How about you? This illusion of being completely isolated and alone and spiritual quarantine, when we know there's so many amazing, empowered, beautiful souls that are just stepping into their light and power every day. And just think about the momentum of that. When you meet a person who's embodying that and you're completely inspired, you're given full permission in that moment to also step out of the matrix and into your full potential. And this is the power of the supernova soul. Don't disregard this. It's so beautiful, such a gift. And can you receive the gift that you are? You've already done the work. I mean, trust me, somehow you made it here. Let's not let this gift lay fallow any longer. And know that the exponential effect of stepping into society with that light on, nobody can argue with that shit. And it just cracks the code of the programming on whoever can receive. Whew. And doesn't that feel good? So this is this whole thing, because Mars square the nodes, what in the heck are we doing? How do we get forward? How do we get back? Oh, we shine our light. Oh, it's not about creating in the old way. It's about being present with the light that we are. We are the divine plan and we're on the plan. And so there you don't know what's around the corner. And you're not in charge. Your ego isn't in charge in the same way. And sacred trust in the process. You're going to step into the light that you are, right? The plan is way beyond what your psyche can even conceive of. So get it out of the way, But so this is like, how do we move forward? How do we receive this abundant gift that we are? Is we just start shining it, and we surrender to the love that is. And all of the problems are stories, and this was there before the stories, before anything was ever even created. This divine plan, this love in your heart, it is the plan. So it's huge leap of faith required, but aren't you ready to stop climbing up out of the gutter every day and feel like something's reaching down to you finally? Can you receive that? Can you open to that? Can you rest in that place of the goddess coming back on her throne of, we're going to prioritize and focus on what's healthy and harmonious and compassion and love. And you show up in that truth every moment, every day. It's like, this is your new spiritual practice, right? It's not about going out and doing anything or your plans or all that. That's all there. It's all there. You're not privy to it right now. But time to get into alignment with your divine self, which is the divine plan. Get out of the way and rest and be prepared. Let yourself be prepared, and let just knowing that this light coming in, we talked about this big flash of light, DNA activation, and also that love that resolves and heals all wounds. This is happening. It's happening in our physical bodies. It's happening in our psyche, our emotional bodies. Maybe this is why we're so tired. It's like DNA repair. Maybe we have to repair the DNA to a certain place so that we can get back to that God code DNA activation. But that's what your vibe is and why you're here, right? So that's the plan. So very powerful turning point. And I hope you'll consider joining me for the live activation for this Leo new moon, this Lion's Gate portal. Let's come together. Let's be in the presence of this. Let's let that finger of God come down into our life and pick us up back into our potential, because it's just so different and so beautiful. And it's what makes everything make sense in your world. It makes it all work when you're actually using the gift that you have, the gifts. And so that energy, the activation, the new moon happens on Sunday in most of the world. The activation is Saturday in 4 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. And so I hope you'll consider joining. And, when we come together with our collective energy, it's so awesome. And it's kind of like, if you've ever done an activation, which is just a guided meditation, it's about an hour. But if you've ever done one, you're in our field. You can be affected in the future from all of the work we do together, And you can be present in this and bring your energy. That's what's so awesome. And every event, it seems like, whether there's more people or less people, the field and the energy of what we're doing, the SuperNova light ship, is getting stronger and stronger. And it's interesting, as I said that, I saw this picture of this SuperNova light ship, like literally challenging the whole paradigm of reality, right? Like almost like if a spaceship showed up outside in your town, everybody would have to rearrange their whole reality, And the SuperNova light ship is like, it's almost like maybe it's like bridging the way back to that source energy, cracking the code of the lower matrix, disconnection, isolation from spiritual messages and synchronicities and all that. And the SuperNova light ship is like, it's like a beam of light that is just by definition, it challenges the paradigm. And it goes back to you. And this is the thing of like, I can feel supernova souls, that overwhelming burden of the South Node Sagittarius issues coming up of like, oh, I'm up. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll admit there's something in me that's not being expressed, but then I'm overwhelmed by it and I'm scared by it. And how do I do it? How do I do it all alone? And I don't even know. Because think about that. If you're going to show up in your true compassion, your light, but it's only you, it feels so vulnerable. But then think of showing up with your light army, and try to challenge that. And we're all here together. We made it. And it's only going to get better as we find that permission and strength within ourselves, our worthiness to come back together and, overcoming that fear programming so that we can be that alternative option, the living, breathing example. But there's definitely an energy, this heart opening thing. It's like, you can't do that alone. You come here to do it alone. And this is a huge energy in supernova souls right now. It's like, okay, I'm getting a sense of what this, and I really want to just have this life of meaning and purpose and my gifts and skills, but just this overwhelming feeling of, and this is a feeling that I think goes back to, so part of the reason why it's been so hard for you, supernova soul, is that you're so aware in your consciousness. So like, say a baby coming in, it would be more sleeping and dreaming, but a supernova baby being born is fully conscious of what it's experiencing. And there's a trepidation that can happen in the womb or just after birth or around that time. And this feeling of not being received as a spiritual being, of another lifetime all alone. And this, it's like this resistance, like digging your feet in, digging your heels in, not wanting to come to earth because you don't want to do it alone. That's programming, right? But this is a feeling that's coming up. And literally to the point of like the programming kicks in and it's like, why even bother, like, I'm not up for the job. I'm not up to the task. I can't do it. Nobody cares. Don't, like this is all a lie. So anyway, here we are together. We made it. And hopefully you can make it to this new moon activation tomorrow to be present in the light. If you can't make the live time, just know that it's there for you to tap in to that energy together and be the light that we are together. It's so much easier and so much more fun. So I look forward to seeing you there on that activation or the next update. Until then, hang in there, supernova souls. We're just about to turn the corner and into the light that you are. So let your light shine. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.